GenderqueerChat. So this week we're going to talk about a subject which is a little bit uncomfortable for me, just a little bit, and that is sex categorization. So I will find the topic and read it. So the topic is, why does it seem that there are more defab genderqueer people than demab? Does it seem to you to be that way? And if so, what are some possible explanations for that? So, I think the first thing to address for people that don't know is the acronyms. So defab and demab are the acronyms that are being used here to refer to, I believe it's simply short for like designated female at birth or designated male at birth. I've heard some other acronyms, but they're all basically referring to the same thing. One that I saw a lot, that I've seen a lot, is coercively assigned female or male at birth. So it's like CAMAB and CAPAB. But anyways, the idea is the categorization of individuals based on sex characteristics of their body, and the subsequent kind of divvying out of different, social expectations, etc. Usually, as a result of that forced categorization. So I would say, to start with, that I personally reject those kind of categorizations for myself. I feel like it's not a very helpful thing to categorize people. This isn't a criticism of the topic, of course, I'm just saying. I think this kind of thing is something that can be really difficult for trans people like myself, especially. So yeah, and just others who don't find that this sex categorization is like appropriate for them. Another main issue that I have with this categorization is that there's still this rampant misunderstanding in society that a person's sex characteristics somehow equate to these simplified ideas of gender. So it's just oversimplification after oversimplification. So there's a lot of that goes on with this. So I know this isn't directly answering the topic, but I felt like this is pretty worthwhile to bring up. I think it's also important to acknowledge the existence of intersex people. That is, I guess, briefly, people that do not fit into that categorization, that sort of male-female categorization there. So that can include things like chromosomal differences, like XXY, these kind of things, or I think there's like Turner syndrome and something like X0. I don't really know about this kind of stuff so much, but yeah, that exists, as well as ambiguous genitalia, if you will. So there are certainly people that exist that don't fit into those categories, So I think these kind of rigid categorizations are not accurate to reality, and it only serves the purpose, really, of furthering a kind of furthering this kind of divide between people, potentially, and to kind of make something important out of something which shouldn't be that important. I would say, like bodies. I could see how this would be useful in like a doctor kind of situation, where maybe for different purposes it would be nice to know beforehand the status of someone's body, but like only for a doctor, really. So it's the kind of thing that I think is rather harmful, especially when it starts to equate with gender and social roles and expectations, and this equating of gender and stuff with a person's body, and especially the categorization of their body. Yeah, so that's kind of my preliminary thing that I wanted to get out, which I think is good. I think for a really good, thorough answer on this math video, which was yesterday, was really, really good. I really liked that. And I think that, yeah, they totally covered like all the bases on this topic. So the things that I'll say here are probably going to be sort of just a reflection of that, and I think their video was very eloquent, so that's well worth watching, of course. And it is also here on GenderqueerChat, so it's probably just the video before this one. Yeah. Anyways, without further ado, I will kind of answer the question more directly. So, I would say that yes, it does seem to me like there are more male-assigned at birth people in like the genderqueer and trans community, and I would echo what Matt said about that being. I would say that it's kind of a visibility thing. It has a lot to do with the social dynamics and how there can be a lot of pressure to conform to this heteronormative kind of thing, for lack of a better word. So I think that's kind of what relates to that question, I guess. Sorry, I'm a little bit scattered about it, but yeah, I think there's, if there aren't actually more female assigned at birth genderqueer people, I think there's at least more visibility, and I think as far as I've kind of understood it, it seems as though there are a lot more spaces where where people can express things more openly that are like female assigned at birth. They can there is less limitation there. Like Matt said, you can wear pants, which is very true. And you know, my personal perspective is that I try not to gender things like clothing, and that's kind of another thing. I think next week's topic will actually get into that, which I don't want to spoil, of course, but it's going to be a good one as well. But yeah, you know, I think there's a lot more freedom for female assigned at birth people, not to negate like the difficulties or something. I don't mean to do that, but I think there's a lot of freedom as far as expression goes, and of course lots of oppression as well. So it's not like any one group kind of has things better, but I think as far as visibility and feeling comfortable with exploring gender and even like sexuality and variances from a hetero norm, you know, I think it's very difficult for people that are kind of male assigned at birth because of that social pressure and that kind of the hate and the potential very real fear of violence and such that takes place against trans women, for example. So yeah, it's difficult. I think it's a very different kind of experience when society is really not open to very much deviation from a kind of hetero norm, you know, from these sort of rigid sets of ideas or something, you know, to kind of go, oh, well, you can only wear these things, and if you wear these things, then it's perceived as some kind of strange and horrible, like, sexual deviant practice or something, like as though that would be odd or bad in itself. It isn't. And for the most part, people, like a lot of us as, like myself as a trans person, you know, the clothing that I wear and stuff is not really anyone's business, and I don't usually do those things for sexual reasons at all. It's something that's normal for me, that feels comfortable, and relates very much to my, to just my gender, I guess, and my existence. So that's, you know, kind of related to the question, I think. I've absolutely faced, like, I often face at least some weird looks from people, especially if I haven't necessarily shaved for a while or something. People will notice things, and you'll see them kind of freak out in their own heads about, you know, wow, well, I've never seen this before with this, and you know, their ideas of what something is supposed to be is kind of destroyed or messed with, and they can get very uncomfortable and potentially do stupid things out of their inability to deal with their own discomfort. So that I think is something very real that's experienced on the sort of DMAB side of things, I guess. Yeah. I personally exist in a space which is not technically under either of those categorizations, which I would reject personally anyway. So that's kind of freeing in a lot of ways, and, you know, leads to a lot of complications, but I guess that's a totally different thing. So there's a hell of a lot that I could talk about at this point, but I think I've basically answered the question. Excuse me. And I kind of wanted to keep it relatively short. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. You know, of course, leave any comments or whatever else if you'd like. I always appreciate that. And I think that's about it. Yep, I think I answered the question. So yeah, hope everyone enjoyed the video, and I'm really looking forward to everybody else's videos this week as well. It's been really nice to be on the channel and get to contribute and continue to learn about everybody else and all of your different perspectives. So thanks very much for listening, and I hope you'll have a wonderful week. All right.